Now for global business updates, Rotus Oddiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning to all our viewers out there. We begin in Asia with the Caixin Purchasing Managers Index. This is actually for services, non-manufacturing, coming in under the estimates. The estimates were for 53. It came in at 52.7. December was at 52.9. If you're above 50, yep, you're climbing, you're expanding. If you're below 50, you're contracting. This is a private survey. This is not one that is conducted by the Bureau of Statistics. This basically focuses on SMEs, small, medium enterprises in China. And it's non-manufacturing. So a different survey. Still, though, you're still seeing a lot of struggles for China's economy. We move to the US. This is data that came out on Friday. Robust job numbers for the United States in January. 353,000 jobs created. The forecast was for 180. I mean, it just wiped the floor with the forecast. And funny enough, the December forecast, or rather the December numbers, usually they are revised downwards because of the Christmas period. You've got a lot of temporary hires, and then after Christmas is over, they let them go. So usually the trend is for them to sometimes be revised. It was revised upwards. So the Federal Reserve with Jerome Powell, as we look at the unemployment numbers, which actually also came under forecast. Jerome Powell is now he's now justified in saying that he can't see a rate cut happening in March because wage growth was also pretty strong. I think on an annualized basis, coming in at 4.5%. Let's take a look at the unemployment numbers. I think coming in at 3.7% or so for the U.S. In January. Yeah, 3.7%. The forecast was for it to climb to 3.8. It actually fell. So pretty strong numbers there coming in for the U.S. We go to Turkey, and the central bank governor, Hafiz Khan, has resigned. She says it was because of a smear campaign, as the people are saying that she employed her father. She was accused of nepotism and having him being involved in some of the actions of the central bank. So she's left. This is, I think, the sixth central bank governor in Turkey since 2019 or so. It's going on and on. Mr. Fatih Karahan, he's now the new central bank governor. He, of course, is the deputy governor of the Central Bank of Turkey. So he has now been appointed. And I think according to Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley, they're saying that this means you're going to continue to see more orthodox monetary policy over in Turkey. I think what's the rate now? 45% is the monetary policy rate there. So Mr. Fatih Karahan, he's only about 42 years old. He's a young guy, just deputy governor. He's now the new central bank governor of Turkey. We hope that he lasts in his position as he stays there. All right. From there, we move over to, I think, back to the U.S. The crypto arena basically got a pretty big boost from hosting the Grammys this past weekend. Back in 2021, Crypto.com bought the name rights to the crypto arena, and this is the home of the Los Angeles WNBA Sparks, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Los Angeles Clippers, the Los Angeles Kings. $700 million is what they spent on those naming rights. And so for every major event that's held in Los Angeles, Crypto.com is hoping to get a big boost from that. Here's interesting enough, I took a screenshot of the CEO of Crypto.com when he was speaking, I think, to one of the media outlets in the United States. And in that screenshot, you can see the price of Bitcoin at the time. This was November of, I think, 2021. Chris Marzalek is his name. And that was when the news broke that Staples Center, which was what it used to be called, would be renamed as crypto. Look at the price of Bitcoin at that time. It was $60,000. Of course, it has now fallen, of course, to about the 40,000 levels. Let's get to the Grammys. Since we're talking about the crypto arena hosting Grammys, big night for women, female energy everywhere. Taylor Swift, SZA, and a number of other artists doing well. But before then, over the weekend, I think Afrobeats fans are coming down to earth now because of the results, right? Steve Stout, who is the CEO of United Masters. United Masters is a record label that offers almost a 50-50 partnership with artists, and it tries to get them to release their records online because of the power of the internet. And they don't use conventional contracts that they sign with these artists. So the United Masters is, trying to give more freedom to artists to break out their music. He made some pretty controversial comments over the weekend about Selena Gomez and how, her being included on Rema's Calm Down is somehow exploiting Afrobeats and saying that Afrobeats doesn't need Selena Gomez. Selena Gomez needs Afrobeats. So here is his comments on a podcast.
Come into a market and, the first thing you're trying to do is buy the masters from the artists, give them money and take their rights.
Yeah.
Which is what record companies do. That's exploitive. I think those days need to end. And then the other thing that they do is you have these songs that are already big, and then the record company comes in and then puts artists like Selena Gomez on the record. It doesn't need Selena Gomez. Selena Gomez needs the record.
Yeah.
Selena Gomez is not an Afrobeats artist, obviously. She's trying to jump on Afrobeats so that she can get hot.
Yeah.
They need you. And I just need people here to understand that we need to be more of who we are. The culture has spoken.
Yeah.
The culture has been chosen. The sound has been chosen. The world wants it.
Yeah.
We need to be more of who we are, not let them exploit us and we start becoming who they are.
All right, to be clear, Selena Gomez does not need Afrobeats. Afrobeats, to become bigger and bigger, you have to reach a wider audience. So you need a big non-Afrobeat star to reach new. And he's referring to Calm Down. Just to clear the air, just so folks can remind folks of what happened. When Calm Down was released with Rema alone in 2022, it was in February. He added Selena Gomez to the remix in August of 2022. It hit 1 billion streams the following month in September. If you go on the YouTube page for the video and you take a look at the comments on the song, you'll see that most of the comments are from Latin America. Looking at Spotify, if you remind everybody, they sent out a tweet saying, "We can't calm down. Rema has entered the billions club with the first Africa-led track to hit 1 billion streams on Spotify. Congratulations to Rema and congratulations to Selena Gomez." So her influence was there. And just to, again, as far as social media reach, just to look at the numbers here, using Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, Selena Gomez, her YouTube numbers, her subscribers alone at 34.4 million are more than the entire social media reach of Wizkid, Burna Boy, Rema, Tems, Arya Starr. That is individually if you were to look at them. It's only Davido and his total that's higher than that. You can look at just look at the numbers there. It's pretty clear. So she doesn't need Afrobeats in any way, shape, or form. It's the other way around. That is how you grow. And then speaking of which, looking at the winners, I understand a number of people were kind of shocked as to Water by Tyla winning. If you look at the number of streams, I know the Grammys doesn't use popularity contests, but looking at the number of streams on Spotify so far, it's not even close. Tyla has 379 million streams on Spotify. The only Nigerian who was close to beating her, or rather making it competitive, was Arya Starr, who, shout out to Arya Starr, she performed on Rise News during her Christmas Day special. She has 319 streams for Rush. By the way, these are all the songs that were nominated for the Best Africa performance. Unavailable is not even close, 123 million. City Boys Burna 104. Amapiano with Ashake and Olamide is at 50.7 million. So for anyone who was kind of, if you're disappointed, men lie, women lie, the numbers don't. We go to Nigeria, or still sticking in Nigeria now, but more the continued discussion around the exchange rate. There was another circular that was released, which we didn't get to. I think this came out on late Friday. So the CBN has halted outbound IMTO transactions. That is, transactions where trying to send money out of the country. These mostly are for walk-ins. Remember, IMTOs are for people who can just walk in. The KYC requirements are not as stringent as banks. You can still send money out from your bank accounts or, go walking into a bank, but for IMTOs, it is only for FX coming in, at which the IMTOs, as you remember with the last circular, the IMTOs are allowed to quote whatever rate they want in order to liberalize the rate around there. And then, of course, Burn Mary Bruce, he's back again, putting out another of his Save the Naira tweets, where he said that essentially what he's always been saying saying, but in another tweet again, telling people that, listen, if you want to, do we have the tweets? If we want to save the Naira, there it is. This is not rocket science. If we as Nigerians want the Naira to appreciate in value, then we have to do 3 things immediately. It says use Glow for calls and data, eat Dangote for nutrients and power, drive Innocent to get Nigeria moving faster. If we don't do these 3 things and we instead come on social media to throw tantrums, one day we'll wake up to 5,000 Naira to $1. Naira is inflated, there's no more breast milk. If we do not buy Nigeria to grow the Naira, we'll never rise together. And then finally, the cover of today's This Day newspaper, Atiku Abubakar saying that the reforms from President Tinubu are not helping and that essentially he's causing pain and despair. That is our updates.
All right, so many things to talk about.
I know, it's a big weekend. It was a huge weekend.
Yeah. So let me just focus on 2 things. Well, first of all, the job numbers from the United States of America. I mentioned this because there were some concerns around the fact that there were layoffs in the tech space, notably Google, Amazon, and then we also had other sectors like the UPS. However, it's interesting to see that because of consumer demands, employers employed more people. Yep. And they were able to, so in terms of the numbers, really good to see that it wasn't adversely affected. Now, in terms of looking at what that would do for the chances of the president, this is a presidential election. I think that's quite good for President Biden.
Indeed.
He's been criticized quite heavily with regards to the handling of the economy. So this is one win for him in terms of the job numbers. We'll see how the rest of the year goes. It's positive news to start with and just looking at that. Now, with regards to the Grammys, Rotus, while you were speaking, the only thing that came to mind was the money aspect of the Grammys. Because at the end of the day, what we're looking at is the economics of the Grammys. And a number of people there's so many articles, many opinions and thoughts around it, whether it benefits the artists themselves, whether the Grammy is ripping off people. Apparently they charge for submissions, they sell ad spaces and all that. But of course, it's a business at the end of the day. And now they've made it such a business that even though it was initially set up to reward or recognize American artists, it's now gotten global relevance where internationally, the aim of many musicians is to get a Grammy. Now, what's the economic impact of that? It is that, apart from the ad spaces, they will pay taxes on all those things. That's a revenue for the government. It's also the international attention that we receive. People travel down to the Grammys. People pay money for accreditation from different parts of the world. So the bigger they get, the more money and income generation for not just the organization, but for the economy as well, especially in a country like America, where taxes are very, the tax man does his work very well. So they will tax you. So obviously for me, all I was thinking about is that how can Nigeria tap from this, because we are the giant of Africa, especially in music and movies. And that's why I'm grateful that this administration is paying a lot of attention to the arts, the creative arts sector, pumping a lot of money. But it's not just about pumping a lot of money into this sector. It's to see how that money can generate revenue for the nation. So for instance, very easily, I feel that we can become the hub, the Grammy of the African continent. Let's not keep going for validation in the United States of America. There's nothing wrong with that. We are now a global, the world is a global village, so Grammys can no longer be situated and just for the American audience. But we can actually position ourselves in Nigeria as an economy as the place for recognition and to bring people from all around the African continent to come to Nigeria for a week. They do that with AMA and other things, but it's not strong enough. There's still a lot of potential there. And if that must happen, the other things that we talk about, would people want to travel to a place that's not safe or where they cannot guarantee their safety? Would people want to travel to a place where it is difficult to get flights there because it's easier to travel abroad to Europe or America than it is to come to any other African country? So these are some of the things that we must sort out on the African continent. But I believe very strongly that Nigeria, being the king when it comes to international music and movies, can position ourselves to generate revenue for the economy.
Okay, let's start with the U.S. The White House has been doing the victory lap since Friday, with President Biden saying, this shows that the American economy is the biggest economy in the world, and that for 2 years running, unemployment rate has been kept below 4%. Well, actual figure released on Friday was 3.7%. Economists expected 3.8, but he stayed at 3.7% steadily. And then also, average wage earnings increased about 0.8%. And he boasted further that, in fact, inflation rate in the US has returned to the pre-pandemic level of 2%, where it's not yet at 2%. Right. It's still 3.4%. Yeah. And that's why, the Federal Reserve is saying, we'll be very cautious. Only yesterday on CBS 60 Minutes, Jay Powell still insisted that, look, they will still take a cautious approach, that nobody should run ahead of themselves in order to prevent the error that the Reserve Bank made in 2021 and 2022. So in spite of all of this euphoria about good figures coming out, the blowout with employment figures and jobs and all of that, you see that the Federal Reserve is still being very cautious. That, I think, is perhaps a lesson that other people can learn from that example. Now, as for Turkey, the question to ask is whether Ms. Ekan jumped or she was pushed. When she was made CBN governor, the story we were narrating on this table was that this was somebody straight from Wall Street. How will she fit into, President Erdogan's system, who was going against the grain, adopting the unorthodox method of lowering interest rates at a time other jurisdictions, other economies were raising interest rates. But she seemed to have been able to get away with it so far, bringing inflation rate in Turkey down to 65%. But then, what exactly happened? We don't know. Because in the statement by the Ministry of Finance, there was a suggestion that she was fired. Now, she herself said there was character assassination of her family and that she cannot put her family on the line because of a national assignment. More so, she has a young child, who is not even up to 1.5 years yet. So she decided to leave their job for them. Is that the case here? Given the reputation of President Erdogan of removing ministers, central bank governors, he fired 4 before he appointed Ekan. At Davos this year, the same President Erdogan instructed the Minister of Finance not to go near the place, and the Turkish delegation was absent. But perhaps we'll know the truth later. Farrakhan, who is succeeding Ekan, comes from the same background, PhD economics, University of Pennsylvania. Will he continue the orthodox economic policies that Ekan introduced? But in any case, we wish her well. She tried her best.
She tried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Rotus.